Yo, chill.
You look like you need to be taken care of, nigga. You look like you need to go to the dentist. You need to look like you need to brush your teeth. You look like you need hygiene, nigga. You look like you need help. Tell your man 50 saying you an ounce or something, yo.
You do?
Everything. You can imagine everything. Private jets, Miami, hundreds of thousands in one weekend, 2 tour buses, Atlanta. Like, cannot front on how I had my boys moving. And I'm only talking about this because you was...
The hip-hop world is on fire right now. At the center of the chaos is the latest clash between Jim Jones and Tony Yayo. What started as simple slick talk exploded almost overnight into full-blown exposure. Jim tried to clap back and protect his image, but things quickly spun out of his control the moment Tony Yayo stepped in with an energy. The internet definitely wasn't prepared for Dot within hours. Every timeline, comment section, and hip-hop forum lit up with debates, memes, reaction videos, and side-by-side receipts. Everyone was trying to figure out who was telling the truth and who was scrambling to save face. Jim might have thought he could talk his way out of this one like he usually does, but this time, he ran into someone who refused to let anything slide.
God planned for you to come here and spaz on y'all niggas tonight.
I spaz?
I'm just saying, it was a plan.
I mean, I think we on some Hollywood shit in Europe. I gotta stop. Something like, yo, stop talking about Europe. I don't, like, when you come here, you gotta deal with niggas.
Don't treat Vlad like that, bro. See how niggas is? See how niggas is,
nothing with Vlad.
He ain't treat Vlad like that.
Jim's response, instead of calming things down, sparked even more questions. He repeated certain claims, added new details, and tried to reassert dominance over the narrative. But by then, the internet was already deep in comparison mode. Fans pulled up old interviews, analyzed body language, clipped past statements, and began asking the same thing over and over. Why does Jim's story keep changing? Meanwhile, Yayo sat back and let the receipts speak for themselves, dropping occasional comments that only intensified the drama. The culture loves conflict, but it loves clarity even more. And right now, fans feel like they're getting the clearest view they've ever had of the long-standing tension between Jim and G-Unit. What started as simple trash talk turned into a full-on internet-led investigation. And in that environment, the person with the strongest facts, not the strongest personality, comes out on top. Tony Yayo's exposed didn't arrive in the form of emotional rants or dramatic accusations. It came with pacing, patience, and precision, the kind of tactical approach fans said felt more like a documentary than a diss. Every claim Jim made was met with a counterpoint. Every statement was paired with context. Every detail was backed up with something verifiable. And that's why this clash hit differently. It wasn't loud, it was methodical, and it left almost no room for doubt.
You see, I
do my own tours. I did tours in Canada. I did a tour across the whole Germany and the Swiss Alps. And that's why I don't care about the hate. Cause I'm like, I got the possibility to do my own tour. Like something with Memphis Bleak. Memphis Bleak said to Nori, Yayo said, Jay-Z didn't have us on tour like he did, or I eat my own halal. I eat my own halal too. If you want to say that, to Memphis Bleak, I just came off my last tour. All I'm saying is when you see Jay-Z in a setting, he never really, when he's doing a Beyonce show or whatever, you don't see Memphis Bleak on the stage and him being brought out. You know, even if I'm doing the hype man shit with 50, he's bringing me out. I'm making money. I'm going to—
That's that man girl too. That's it. That's Hov's wife tour.
Yeah, that's Hov's wife tour.
So if Hov, I believe if Hov was out on his own, he would bring Bleak out. There is no need for him to bring Bleak in a situation where it looked like if this was last tour you're talking about with the Cowboy Carter.
Right.
Yeah.
So to me, because I look at Bleak as a loyal guy, like I'm a loyal guy to Jay. But I look at like Fifth, my guy Hervé, one day we had TRL. And it's the young Gunners there.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to him about it. And Hervé says loud, you don't gotta worry about nothing. You got 50. Jay-Z doesn't do nothing for these guys like 50 does. And Hervé, I think he worked with them too.
For years, Jim Jones has been known for delivering passionate interviews, bold statements, loud confidence, and the energy of someone who feels untouchable. But Tony Yayo's clapback didn't just challenge his words. It dismantled them piece by piece. Yayo came with screenshots, timeline checks, and past footage that lined up perfectly with his claims, turning the whole situation into what fans immediately labeled an undeniable expose. By the time the first round of receipts hit the internet, social media was already calling it a knockout. What made it even crazier was how unexpected it all was. Nobody predicted that Yayo, the usually calm, quiet, behind-the-scenes member of G-Unit, would step into the ring this aggressively. But when he did, he swung harder than anyone imagined. This beef hit so deeply because both men represent major eras in New York hip-hop culture. Dipset and G-Unit shaped the early 2000s, their style, their crews, their mixtapes, their attitudes. All iconic, seen to respective figures from those legendary movements colliding. 2-0 for 2-0 to 5 created a storyline that felt both nostalgic and explosive. Fans weren't just watching a disagreement, they were watching history clash with history. But this time, Tony Yayo didn't come with nostalgia. He came with receipts and that changed everything.
Stack Bundles, one of my favorite rappers in the world.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Right?
Riot Squad.
Rest in peace.
Far Rock,
Yep.
you understand? Jim Jones, he had Stack Bundles, he had Max B. I looked at it like, great. You know, Stack Bundles had a portion was still in the hood. No disrespect to Jim Jones. Fifth had me in Battery Park. I could walk out that barefoot.
Get the
See,
socks.
that's when a nigga love you, nigga. You can get the socks, nigga. Sneakers Dior, nigga. But I'm walking out there barefoot. That's when you know a nigga love you, boy. Because he making sure you don't get your shit split. Because you go back to 134, anywhere, Baisley, right, Brooklyn, pew, shit get split. Once I got shit, nigga shot my shit up. Bentleys and all that. Y'all can get that sneaker, just toss that over there. My shit's official. You know what I'm saying? Yo, look, but nigga put me in position. Rest in peace of Stack, but Stack got killed in the project with a Porsche.
Yeah.
Nigga, come on, nigga, I'm from the hood, nigga. Y'all niggas thought, nigga. I done been around the Black Justice and seen the Preems and all that, nigga. The E-Money bags, all that, nigga. The younger niggas under that.
So with everything you
Maserati Fox. Real
Yeah.
nigga, huh?
so with everything that you saw, what would you change?
I just pray to God every time I leave the house.
But what would you change?
Change what?
Pass a cup.
I
for
heard
that.
you talk about all the shit you went through, all the shit niggas is still going through.
Unlike most hip-hop disputes built on rumors or half-truths, this one turned into a timeline war. And in timeline battles, the person who connects the dots the cleanest usually walks away with the win. One of the biggest turning points came when Yayo pulled up old audio clips of Jim, saying the complete opposite of what he's saying today. Fans couldn't believe how fast the contradictions surfaced. It wasn't one interview. It wasn't one slip-up. It was years of conflicting statements stacked on top of each other, and once those clips went viral, the internet did exactly what it always does: it started digging. Suddenly, fans were posting side-by-side edits showing Jim in 2012 saying one thing, Jim in 2017 saying another, and Jim in 2020 for giving a completely different version. The entire situation turned into a digital collage of inconsistencies. What made it sting even more was how Yayo delivered his points. He didn't add disrespect. He didn't yell. He didn't exaggerate. He let the facts speak for themselves. He explained his side clearly and calmly, staying strictly within the realm of documented history. Fans appreciated this, especially in an era where so many beefs feel manufactured or overly dramatic. Yayo showed discipline, clarity, and confidence, and that made him appear not just bold, but credible, and credibility is exactly where Jim started losing ground. For years, critics have accused him of stretching stories, rewriting events, or placing himself at the center of moments that didn't always match how others remembered them. But since no one challenged him directly, he kept control of the narrative. Tony Yayo shattered that dynamic by stepping in with evidence. He pulled the rug out from under every statement Jim used to defend himself. The reaction from the hip-hop community was immediate. Old school fans leaned toward G-Unit. Dipset supporters tried to defend Jim but struggled against the mountain of receipts. Neutral observers all came to the same conclusion: if the timeline doesn't match, the story doesn't match, this new wave of digital accountability is reshaping hip-hop in real time. The days of talking in circles are over. Fans fact-check, compare interviews, revisit old clips, and care deeply about consistency. Jim's run-in with Yayo's receipts exposed just how different today's media landscape is. Back in the early 2000s, this kind of beef would have turned into a mixtape war. Today, it's a documentation war. And Tony Yayo showed up with a folder full of files as the situation escalated. The internet turned the entire beef into a full-blown investigation. Fans, bloggers, podcast hosts, and independent creators dug into years of archived footage to figure out what really happened between Jim Jones and G-Unit during their peak years.
Don't understand the business he's doing. They always look at Jay like, oh
Yeah.
But nah,
That's why.
Bleak
That's
out
why you
here
got
make
niggas like Yayo talking about, Jay don't take care of. I don't need Jay to go on tour.
Yo, smoke hard coke,
Yo, chill. Yo, chill.
You look like you need to be taken care of. Nigga. You look like you need to go to the dentist. You need to look like you need to brush your teeth. You look like you need hygiene. Nigga. You look like you need help. Tell your man 50 send you an ounce or something, yo.
You do need
You
that
might
help.
need
That's
2
why-
ounces, nigga.
That's why
Paid
you
in full
looking to
movie,
see.
nigga. I got a G for every bump in your face, nigga. I promise you that, nigga.
That's
I
a
promise
fact.
you that, nigga.
That's why he worried about
Peon, you broke, nigga. You know
See?
I got it, nigga. What's
Don't-
up? The
ain't
bag
nobody-
is up. The both side.
Hey, yo.
Hey, Flea, where the both side, Flea?
Let me finish that off. Ain't nobody taking care of niggas over here, B.
Pardon me.
Nah, you good, my nigga. I fucking love it. They deserve it. They need to hear this shit, man, because they bugging out here. All these niggas worrying about who taking care of who. We take care of we. Ain't no
100%,
who
nigga.
take care of who, nigga. You know who doing it. We live.
Us,
We getting
the gang,
money.
nigga. We take
You
care
feel
of
me?
everybody, nigga. We take care of each other, nigga.
That's a
heard?
fact, my G. But
And once people started digging, the story expanded far beyond the original argument. Clips resurfaced from studio sessions, backstage footage, old Hot 97 interviews, MTV News segments, and early YouTube vlogs. Some videos showed G-Unit members mentioning Dipset. Others showed Dipset mentioning G-Unit. Commentators began analyzing every tiny detail: outfits, locations, gestures, background noise, side conversations. Fans weren't just listening to what was said. They were studying how it was said. Body language readers weighed in. Street historians added context. Even casual fans suddenly felt like detectives connecting dots. Across the decades of New York rap history, and the more evidence surfaced, the worse things looked for Jim. People broke down how often he changed key details about the same events. They pointed out how some stories had grown more dramatic with each retelling. They compared Jim's version to other Dipset members' accounts, and those didn't always match either. Meanwhile, Tony Yayo benefited from something rare in hip-hop: a clean, consistent storyline. He never exaggerated his role. He never inserted himself into narratives that didn't involve him. He stayed steady for years. So, when he finally spoke up now, fans treated him like a reliable witness. His reputation for blunt honesty gave him a major advantage, and the internet always gravitates towards someone who talks plainly. In this case, plain talk beat polished talk. What made this digital investigation so intense was how fans connected old tensions, old alliances, and old political divides within the New York rap scene. People revisited the Dipset vs. G-Unit era and remembered the tension that existed during the 50 Cent vs. Cameron feud. They began analyzing whether Jim's current behavior was an attempt to rewrite that era in his favor. Once that theory caught on, fans became even more aggressive in pulling receipts. Memes flooded timelines. Edits went viral. Reaction channels streamed for hours, breaking down every detail like analysts reviewing game tape. This wasn't just a beef anymore, it became hip-hop homework. And for the first time in years, fans felt like they finally had a clear understanding of where the inconsistencies were coming from. By the time the investigation wave slowed down, one message echoed across social media: Tony Yayo didn't expose Jim, Jim exposed himself. Because once the internet connected the timelines, no clapback could compete with the truth fans pieced together. With the internet heavily leaning toward Yayo, Jim Jones found himself backed into a cultural corner, and the pressure became impossible to hide. More people began questioning how many times he had reshaped events over the years. Not just with G-Unit, but with other rappers, other movements, and even inside Dipset's own history. His reputation as the loud voice of the crew, always narrating, always explaining, always in front, now started working against him. Fans began asking the bigger questions. Why does Jim feel the need to stand at the center of every story? Why do so many narratives somehow circle back to him? Why do the details shift depending on the interview? These weren't attacks. They were patterns being laid out by an audience finally paying attention. And Tony Yayo's calm, factual dismantling made those patterns impossible to ignore. Yayo kept things smooth. He didn't escalate. He didn't threaten. He didn't insult. He simply spoke like someone who knew the truth could stand on its own. That approach made him look even stronger, especially in a culture where theatrics are often louder than facts. The contrast between Yayo's clarity and Jim's emotional defensiveness couldn't have been sharper. This dynamic tapped into a deeper cultural shift happening in hip-hop. Fans value authenticity more than ever. It doesn't matter how big someone's catalog is or how legendary their movement was if the stories don't add up, the support disappears. Hip-hop once prioritized dominance. Now it prioritizes accuracy. And Tony Yayo brought accuracy like a weapon. Jim's frustration spilled into social media responses, interviews, and indirect statements that felt more like damage control than confidence. He tried framing Yayo's receipts as irrelevant. He tried painting himself as misunderstood. But none of it stuck, because fans now had the evidence in front of them. The narrative had already shifted, and Jim was playing catch-up. People also pointed out that Jim had been involved in multiple public disputes over the years, where similar inconsistencies popped up. So, when the situation unfolded, many felt it confirmed what they already suspected: Jim is loyal to the performance, not the truth. And in this era, performance gets punished quickly. This doesn't mean Jim Jones is finished. He's still respected as an artist, a businessman, and a cultural figure. But his credibility, that's what's on the line. And in hip-hop, credibility matters as much as catalog. Talk too much, get caught too often. And eventually, the hood starts treating your words like costumes instead of facts. Right now, Tony Yayo has the advantage, not because he's louder, but because he's cleaner. The fallout from Yayo's Exposed has marked a turning point in how the hip-hop community views Jim Jones, and the tension hasn't slowed. The longer Jim dances around the actual receipts, the more fans interpret it as quiet surrender. Meanwhile, Yayo's calm dominance has shifted the conversation from who's right to why was this hidden for so long. That's when you know a beef has crossed from entertainment into cultural reset territory. The streets are watching the situation differently because it isn't about who's tougher, who's richer, or who has more hits. It's about who's telling the truth. And in hip-hop, truth is the highest currency. Jim's attempts to regain control of the narrative aren't landing. Because fans don't want charisma anymore, they want consistency. The irony is that Jim doesn't need exaggeration to secure his legacy. He already has hits, moments, classics, history. But by constantly stretching stories, he created a pattern that Yayo exposed on the biggest stage imaginable, the internet. And the internet does not forget. Once fans label someone as inconsistent, that tag sticks harder than any diss track. This beef isn't just a clash between two New York legends, it's a warning for the entire industry. If you rewrite history, the receipts will eventually find you. If you talk louder than your facts, someone quieter will expose you. If you lie to the culture will correct you. Tony Yayo walked into the situation like a man who wasn't trying to win, just trying to tell the truth. And that alone made the truth hit harder. Jim, on the other hand, reacted like someone who no longer controlled the narrative. And fans immediately sensed that shift in power. So, where does this go next? Jim could double down. He could ignore it. He could attempt another comeback. Or he could finally address the receipts head on the move fans are waiting for. Until then, the internet's verdict stands. Tony Yayo is up. Jim Jones is down. And the credibility gap between them has never been wider. This entire situation now lives permanently in hip-hop history as the moment when the culture chose documentation over dramatization, consistency over confidence, and truth over talk.